So lots of people were mad over the last 7 days, and I was a little bit surprised because I think Gunther, as John Cena's last opponent, is absolutely brilliant. We talked about this on Saturday. It is the man who lives to submit people against a man who has always looked you in your eyes and said, you should never get up. And after the promo, the cut on this episode of Raw, I am doubling down on this. I am super duper pumped for John Cena's last match, especially because if I was going to make a prediction, I think John Cena is going to win. That's going to make you feel warm and fuzzy in your tum-tum. I approve. That means nothing. Who the flub am I? Also, hello, my friends, and welcome to Ups and Downs, the only wrestling review show you need to go out there and share this with people who may need wrestling reviews in their life, which is very strange. We do give the good bits and up and the bad bits and downs, but of course, we always try and be positive because wrestling is the most important of the least important things. And thank you very much to Norton, a VPN who is sponsoring this video. If you don't know what a VPN is, well, you can Google it, but essentially, it's going to allow you to protect what you do online, protect your data, and you can choose what location you want to appear in. And maybe that's going to help you with Saturday night's main event, which is going down this weekend. There is a link down there. There's a QR code on the screen. Depending on what location you're in, you may need to do something different, but we'll walk you through it. And you can basically get up to 73% off, which is totally ridiculous. So thank you very much to Norton. Right, who wants to talk about Raw? I do, otherwise I'd be out of job. I know that would make you happy, but please don't do that. Let's up those doubts. But yes, Mr. Ring General did walk out to kick off this week's episode of Raw, and he was all like, well, yeah, I did win the John Cena tournament, now I get to win John Cena, and what I have decided to do is to crown him the greatest sports entertainer ever, but in terms of the greatest wrestler ever, that's me, Gunther. So right away, he told you how this story is gonna go. Somebody has clearly been watching Rocky IV as well, because Gunther did so, I'm gonna make you give up, and I'm going to break your spirit, so maybe it's a little bit of Batman versus Bane as well, and then he put a timer on the screen, a countdown clock, because like 4 days and hours and minutes leading up to Saturday night's main event, because when that thing gets to 000, the legend of John Cena is dead. Like, I would have loved it if Carmella Hayes has got to the final, right? But let's say that John Cena is going to win. You don't need to put Carmella Hayes in that position. But Gunther, he's already over, he's already got the power, and he gets to say things like this. I'm sorry, you could come at me with a knife, which would be very strange, but you're not going to be able to change my mind. He also said he's going to squeeze him until the hustle, loyalty, and respect leaves his body. And no, I don't believe that was a euphemism, because that would have ruined this. When essentially, he put the microphone down and he left. But once again, this is why I think he is the best choice for all of this. He came across like an unhinged evil man. It's a bit like James Bond versus terrible person. I really can't stand all this revisionist history either, because now one of the big jabs or big comparisons is, it's like when Brock Lesnar beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania 30. Don't try and pretend that didn't turn Brock Lesnar into twice the star that he was. It did, and if Gunther was going to beat John Cena, he would become this mythical beast, although once again, I don't actually think that is going to happen. I am giving this an up. I think WWE has made the right call here, and I want to see that match. That's all I care about. However, just to be an idiot, I do have a down. Now, I do totally understand why. I mean, it sounds like John Cena's had a crazy schedule this year anyway. But of course, John Cena matches are only 50% of what John Cena is, and his promos, well, you could argue it's even more than 50%, even though that wouldn't make the maths work. I really wanted him to be here to give Gunther a fine speech, because as always, Big Match John would find things to say where you go, oh my gosh, I can't believe those words came out of his mouth. It's not a big deal. It's certainly not a bad or a negative thing. It's just something that made me a little bit sad in my tootsie toes, so I am going to give it a down. But do we ever need to talk about that again? No. Because good grief, am I excited. We also then saw Oba Femi in the front row because he is taking on Cody Rhodes at that Saturday night's main event. And honestly, man, given that no championships are on the line, I would have Oba Femi win because what a way to introduce him to the main roster audience. When it was Iyo Sky versus Kairi Sane. I'm having a very, very good time. Rhea Ripley and Asuka were at ringside, so of course you could smell the shenanigans, put a 1 on the dick counter. And Asuka was getting involved, so Rhea Ripley went to deal with her. When Asuka got involved for a second time, and that time, Rhea did nothing. I was like, okay, she's very picky and choosy about when she's going to bring balance to the force. Sky did go for the moonsault, but Kairi was able to turn that into the double stomp. And Iyo Sky was so mad, she German suplexed Kairi Sane on the ring apron, which is the hardest part of the ring, and you heard her go squish. Then she also followed up with her acai moonsault, which is always cool, put a 1 on the dive counter. This when Asuka was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to interfere again. And Rhea was like, no, you're not, mate. I'm going to throw you into Timmy the Timekeeper's table area, which she did do. Essentially, Iyo Sky hit the moonsault, and she won. So that's perfectly enjoyable. I like it. And now surely you can argue that Iyo Sky and Rhea Ripley can have a tag team match against the Kabuki Warriors. They could also mean on next week's episode of Raw, we get Rhea Ripley versus Asuka. Now that's totally cool, I'm never getting mad at it, but I hope we do like a big singles program between those two. Or do I even need it? If I am going to get it next week, who the flub am I talking to? I am going to give it an up. This women's tag team division rules. Logan Paul then found the vision and he was all like, I didn't enjoy what Rey Mysterio did to me last week. And that's why you, Bronson Reed, and you, Bron Breakker, have to help me. Honestly, I think they're only there because of Paul Heyman. They're like, fine, we'll help you, you absolute buffoon. It just goes to show that nobody actually likes Logan Paul. There was also this very strange conversation between Logan Paul and Paul Heyman when Heyman was all like, isn't it great? You do have people to back you up now, but just in case, here are your brass knucks. When they said the words, just in case, around about 42,869 times. And if they had kissed at the end of this, I wouldn't have been surprised. They didn't do that. Rey Mysterio was then walking through the back as well, and you saw Adam Pearce and the New Day arguing in the background, so that was going to come to fruition later. And yeah, he was about to take on Finn Balor, although very sadly, he didn't make it. Because out of nowhere, Logan Paul did attack him because he is an absolute asshole. And after Rey Mysterio actually started fighting back, it was the Masked Man who appeared again. He super kicked Rey right in the face and he hit him with the stomp. So once again, whoever it is, you're meant to believe it could be Seth Rollins, although I don't think it is. And yes, this was 100% a different human being to whoever it was at Survivor Series War Games. Now, I'm sure it's only going to be one person, but I don't mind this at all. Again, wrestling is nonsense in the best possible way. So if it was Austin Theory at the Survivor Series, and this looked very much like Montez Ford in the way he was moving, that's just a smart thing to do, because go on social media today. Everyone is saying, oh my gosh, maybe it's not Austin Theory anymore, and oh my gosh, maybe Montez Ford would be great in that role, and he is. And it can still be Chris Jericho if he has come back to WWE. It could be Seth Rollins, it could be Reaper Man, it could be you, it could be me. If you were going to come up with ideas in the world of make-believe, which is what pro wrestling is, you can do things like this because it fuels the conversation. I just thought this was very well done. Now, LA Knight also came out to make the save here and he chased everybody away. When he was like, yeah, I want to fight you later, Logan Paul, yeah. And that is going to be our main event. So as ever, Adam Pearce didn't have a match to close the show, so maybe he is the guy behind the hood. He was like, damn it, I don't want anyone to know. I don't know how to run this show. We also learned after this as well, it is going to be AJ Styles and Dragon Lee versus Leon Slater and Javon Evans, and that match is going to be so good. And listen, while everyone in this does deserve their flowers, I want to give a shout out to Leon because I have worked shows when he has been on the card, and every single person in that locker room knew he was going to fly. But seeing him do all of this, well, he just deserves all the praise, he deserves all the congratulations. And going back to the LA Knight Logan Paul segment, I am going to give it an up. I like that Masked Man storyline. I appreciate the fact that WWE is being patient with it, and they have introduced it as a red herring, a mystery man, a cliffhanger. That's the word I was looking for. So yeah, it's fun, man. Wrestling is meant to be fun. We then did have AJ Styles and Dragon Lee defending their tag team titles against the War Raiders, who have finally come back to TV. And it was kind of a silly time to announce that AJ Styles, Dragon Lee, Javon, and Leon match. Like, the titles are on the line, but there was no way that AJ and Dragon were going to lose here if you have that in a few days' time. And yes, at one point, Dragon Lee went to pick up Ivar, I think it was, and they fell on the floor, and it was a bit wibbly wobbly. If you're one of these people who are sitting in your chair shouting, I need wrestling to be more realistic, this is the most realistic thing that could have happened. A smaller man tried to pick up a bigger man and he fell down because he wasn't able to do it. Also, can we just allow wrestlers to make mistakes? I don't think it matters at all. I'm absolutely not going to moan about any of this though, because the Raw tag team titles finally are being used again, and for 12 months they basically did nothing. And of course, at one point, the War Raiders were being strong, so AJ Styles, he got a bit flippy-dippy-doo-dah, and this Dragon Lee, we were just bouncing all over the place. But at one point, they basically Hurricane Randed one War Raider into the other War Raider, which means they were using one of them as a projectile weapon, and the other one as the target. It's one of the most flubbed up things I've said in a long old time. When, of course, Dragon Lee took out Eric with a dive for the one on the counter, when I think AJ Styles realised there's no way I'm going to be able to Styles clash that big man over there. So he hit the phenomenal forearm on Ivar and he got the 1-2-3. I kind of felt at peace at the end of this. I don't know what that means, but I was just a bit like, wipe a tear away from my eye. Isn't it nice to see the Raw tag team titles defended more than once a year? Now, the New Day have been watching this the whole time, and as Joe Tessitore pointed out, why does the camera keep cutting to these dudes that aren't meant to be here to begin with? And just when they were about to beat everybody up, who ran down to make the save? Well, if you can believe it, it was the Usos. Jay and Jimmy got on the microphone and good grief, they cut the most amped promo we may have heard in months, with Jimmy announcing, you know what, I saw my brother Jay crashing out, so we have now decided we are back in the tag team division and damn it, we are coming after those tag team titles. Jay also started yelling at the New Day because he was like, man, this is like Austin versus The Rock. We've done it before and we'll do it again. And just like old times, we will beat you. I can't lie. I was like, yeah, man, go get them. But there ain't no way this is real. And I mean that in a positive way. Jey Uso was basically a husk of a gentleman 7 days ago. He's not just going to effortlessly go back into the tag team division. And if he is, I'm going to have something to say about it. So I'm kind of torn at the inside because the Usos as a tag team, I mean, right away, I was doing the dance of joy. I was like, yeah, the Usos. But from a sheer storyline perspective, you're going to have to imagine that as soon as they do lose, Jey Uso is going to have Crash Out Part 2. I suppose he's going to punch his brother right in the face. So I don't trust it in the best possible way, and this really did feel like WWE has already set a date. I would imagine the first Raw of 2026 to pull the trigger on something big. I am just going to give it an up. Like I say, the match was good, the angle was good, the story was good, and it actually made the Raw Tag Team division feel alive. The last time that happened, well, I think I had hair, and it was around about 1427. So I massively enjoyed this, and also Jimmy and Jey Uso just have a wonderful chemistry. And the way the New Day sold this as well, and AJ Styles and Dragon Lee, they've become a great team. All of this I thought was fantastic, as I lose the ability to speak, but we must keep it going. Don't do what we always do when we get to like, I don't know, February, and everyone's like, where did those Raw Tag Team titles go? Gotta keep it going. Stephanie Vaquer then walked out as well because she was going to cut a promo in front of the crowd, which I always enjoy, because I think if you're a champion, you should be doing that. And as ever, her talking is just so wonderful because she's still learning English, but she just comes across as the most genuine person ever. She's a baby face, that's all you need. She also said, Nikki Bella, you were a legend, but look at the people we have here today who are changing the game. And do you know who's on top of that list? It's me because I am the best. And not just because of my devil's kiss. That made me laugh as well. I think somebody in the back had gone, dudes, we have leaned way too much into this one move. Stephanie is way better than that. Vaquer, you gotta go and say something. Now this is when Nikki Bella finally interrupted. Now I was like, why didn't we do this last week? And she actually had the audacity to say, I want a rematch. And let me make it clear. I very much like heel Nikki Bella. I think she takes too much flack, but in no way could you justify having another match? Because Survivor Series, Stephanie Vaquer beat you like you were nothing. It's one of the reasons why maybe Nikki should have won. They got even stranger because Raquel Rodriguez turned up. She grabbed Nikki and lawn darted her into the ring post. When she did that thing, she went up to Stephanie Vaquer and said, oh, hi, Stephanie, geese title shot. Or I will challenge you for that championship anytime, any place. As like, one, she's a champion. Surely she gets to decide that. And two, I'm just so done with wrestlers walking up to wrestlers being like, well, you know, it'd be great if I could have a title shot. And 9 times out of 10, the other person goes, you know what, it's totally fine. Don't worry about the fact I beat you recently or even as soon as last week, you were involved in the tag division. Remember, you ran to the ring and you beat up all the teams. Why don't we just have our own scuffle? I mean, why doesn't Tozawa do that? Why doesn't Tozawa walk up to Cody Rhodes and say, I would like a title shot? Because I think Cody would be obligated to give him one. And the interesting part is that I think Brie Bella may be coming back soon, and that would explain why Nikki Bella needs a friend. Obviously, Raquel, she already has a buddy in Roxanne Perez, well, there's more to that later as well. And I'm sure Stephanie Vaquer could find someone. So it could be going in a very specific direction, but this is my major problem with it. Like, I don't mind Raquel versus Stephanie, even though I think WWE could build it better. But I think Stephanie Vaquer just needs a proper feud that we could focus on. They could do promos, we get big hype videos. Once again, it's why I thought Nikki Bella should have won a Survivor Series. She didn't have to have an elongated title reign. She could have held it until, I don't know, the last Raw of the year, and as a big shebang to end 2025, Nikki Bella could have lost that title and Stephanie could have won it back. Yeah. It just feels like we're pulling names out of a hat. There's no reason for Raquel to do this other than the fact you need somebody in that spot. Even more so could Rodriguez seem way more interested in the tag team scene before this. So it's not on them, it's just the stories they're being given. I just think it needs to be way bigger. But I am going to give it a down. I mean, WWE has proven in other areas that they will do the exact opposite, so do that here too. Down. Ivan then promised to beat Maxine Dupree for the Intercontinental title next week because that match is going down. If you are interested, just to carry on my last point, Ivy Nara's last win was in 2024. Let's just move on. We then cut to Finn Balor and he was having a great old time because he didn't have to fight Rey Mysterio earlier. Finished so damn good when we got into this Raquel Rodriguez stuff because she walked back into the Judgment Day clubhouse and Liv Morgan was like, well, I didn't know you were going to do that with Stephanie because of course she had done that with Stephanie last week. And Raquel was all, well, I didn't realize I had to tell you. Morgan's like, you don't. I'm very excited for you to become the world champion. She's lying. Morgan then continued this as well because she then turned to Roxanne Perez and said, well, maybe we should go after the tag team titles then if you just have lost your other buddy. And because Roxy was about to take on Lyra, Liv Morgan dragged her out the room. Just want to say this, not only is the Judgment Day better with Liv Morgan in it, the whole show is better with Liv Morgan in it. Her character is just great. Sadly though, I do have to give this a down because it was Roxanne taking on Lyra Valkyria. I could be wrong, but I swear I've seen this match in 2025 4,692 times. It just felt a bit like Groundhog Day. It's also a little bit wibbly wobbly in places, though it is a big deal. I just kind of feel like we need to do something more with all of them. And the Bayley-Lyra dynamic, that thing doesn't make any sense. I'm also going to tie that down in as well, because this was like a copy and paste of the first match that we had done. Because of course Liv Morgan was getting involved, put one on the dick board, but because Bayley was out there, she was then trying to stop the interferer doing the interfering. And I was like, well, if you wanted to do it in this match, which would have made more sense, because we had the Judgment Day, you didn't need to do it in Iyo Sky versus Kairi Sane. They could have just had a competitive match and one of them won. As opposed to that earlier one though, here it did totally work as well, because after they had dealt with Bayley and the referee was like, I don't know what's going on, Liv Morgan had been taken out. She was kind of dead on the ring apron when, very sadly for Lyra, she got too close to her. Something definitely went wrong here, but they still figured it out. Liv booted her right in the face and Roxanne hit the pop rocks and she got the 1, 2, 3. Now I presume we did this in order to get to Liv Morgan and Roxanne taking on Bayley and Lyra, which I presume the Judgment Day will win. What I do like about this is there is more teams to fight for those women's tag team titles, and the division is just drowning in talent. So that I'm going to give it an up. And also, this dynamic between Liv and Roxanne is really good because you know where it's going to end. WWE just needs to decide on the given day. I do think the WWE needs to do better by Bayley and Lyra though. Like Lyra and actually Bayley was cooking when all that Intercontinental title stuff was going down a few months ago. And now they kind of feel like they just exist to put other people over. I mean, we wait and see. We then got another one of these training videos with Natalya and Maxine Dupree, and I'm pretty sure that Natalya is trying to make Maxine Batman or something, or they just can't afford money for lights. It's so damn dark, but I am of course joking. This was actually really, really good, and I'm pretty pumped to see what they do with it. When we got to that main event, there was never a main event at the start of the show. It was Logan Paul versus LA Knight, and actually, given what happened at the end of this, we have to stroke our imaginary beards and try to figure out where WWE is headed. As soon as LA Knight was on top as well, out came Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed, but they didn't look like they wanted to be here at all, like they were so damn tired. And even though Logan Paul did get back into this a little bit, eventually LA Knight hit his elbow. Bronson then tried to get at LA Knight, but the referee kind of figured out what they were doing. So he was like, you need to leave, you need to leave. But surprise, surprise, the Vision didn't leave, which meant the official had no idea what to do. And when Knight and Logan Paul were fighting by the announce table, the Masked Man returned and he just stomped LA Knight's head right into the wood. And I was like, well, I think he's gonna lose. Now, once again, if the person underneath that mask is not Montez Ford, then I'm gonna tell you I have a luxurious head of hair. And instantly Logan Paul hit the Splash of the Frogs for the 1, 2, 3. When all of a sudden this did get very interesting because yes, the Vision did whoop his ass. They speared LA Knight and they hit with a tsunami. But then Paul Heyman took the microphone and said, well, I think all of you should listen to Bron Breakker. Now, for the second week in a row, Bron Breakker cut such a good promo, including the line, isn't it ironic that CM Punk has lived a life free of drugs, but now he looks like a crack addict, when he also said he was going to steal CM Punk's wife. I mean, that's a totally unhinged thing to say. But his main point was, CM Punk, I don't want this new version of you that nobody likes. I want that guy from, 2010, 11, 12, 13. The CM Punk was the best in the world, because that's the guy I'm going to spear for the 1, 2, 3. Spear 1, 2, 3. Spear 1, 2, 3. Spear 1, 2, 3. For some reason, he felt like he needed to say spear 1, 2, 3 at least 12 times, but it worked. Crazy, crazy Bron Breakker on the microphone. Well, I tell you, it's a main event talent. Some idiot production assistant then put LA Knight on the big screen as he was still standing. And of course, Bronson Reed and Logan Paul didn't like that, so they ran to the back, and I tell you, they totally killed this man. Not only did they throw him into a bunch of, box-like structures, they laid him on a vehicle, and that's right, even though I think he'd already taken 2 tsunamis, Bronson Reed gave him the 3rd on the top of the car, which is exactly what we did with, I believe, Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman. And do you know what happened to those 2 guys? We didn't see them for months. Actually, Braun, we never saw him again. Now, some people have gone, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're burying LA Knight. I couldn't agree with that any less. because CM Punk wasn't on this show, Roman Reigns was on this show, so our big babyface star was LA Knight. He got taken out by our big heel group, so as far as I'm concerned, even though he'll probably miss a few weeks of TV, when he does come back, he should be super enraged. He should go into a typically top program, and let's say that Bron Breakker does beat CM Punk on that first January Raw. One of the first contenders for CM Punk, can't talk today, for Bron Breakker could be LA Knight. That's going to annoy some people because he wouldn't win that either, but at least he'd be in a championship match. I don't think this is a burial at all, and actually I think when LA Knight does return to TV, well, me may have some big 2026 plans. And maybe that's me being a positive Pete, but I'm standing by it, and I'm giving this an up. I mean, not only did it make the Vision come across like super dicks, not only did Bron Breakker once again cut another good promo, but it makes me excited for LA Knight. And of course, the big focus now is going to be on John Cena. You're going to have some stars coming out the back of that to fill the void. We wait and see. I'm giving it an up. And actually, overall, I thought this was a very good Raw. There was nothing on it that made you go, oh my gosh. But I think they planted loads of seeds to tell a bunch of stories, especially when we do get into 2026, which is what they were doing really well in 2022, 2023, and 2024. So if you want to get that back in 2026, this was the way to do it. Up. Now, of course, more importantly, please do let me know what you thought about last night's episode of Raw. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen to get my ups and downs for SmackDown, and you can see how much I like this Gunther match. I don't even care, but I do appreciate you, my friends, and that's right. It is the last week we're ever going to have John Cena as an in-ring competitor, so I think we should appreciate it. See you soon.